I got divorced in 2006 after 15 years of marriage and 18 years of a relationship. After the initial "this is awfulness" kind of wore off, I had this thought. It was like, oh crap, I have to date. I don't know how to date. I didn't know how to date the last time I'd been dating. But the last time I'd been dating, I was in school, surrounded by people who were more or less my age, who were like me in their 20s and single. It was, as we say, a target-rich environment. So now, fast forward, and I'm in my early 40s, and, well, the dating pool's a lot thinner because people have gotten married, they've paired off, they've come out, whatever. And they're all scattered everywhere. They're not all in the same place with you all the time. So I'm looking around going, well, oh my God, now what do I do? And so, of course, the 21st century, what do? There's online dating. Now, I was always really reluctant to do this because the last time I had been single, the awkward, artificial way to meet a complete stranger was the personals through the paper. And we used to read those for fun. Okay, so the idea of just putting that on a computer really wasn't doing it so much for me, so I kind of avoided the whole online dating thing. Well, then I found myself, I was at a kind of a bad point, and I was in therapy, and my therapist says to me, you know, I think you ought to join JDate. Now, if you don't know, JDate is the Jewish online singles dating site. And now, I think she only suggested JDate because she and I both happen to be Jewish. It's fun. And I was like, oh, wow, I so, don't want to date anybody right now. And I'm feeling really kind of bad about myself. I'm pretty sure courting rejection is not going to make me feel better. And she said, no. You don't have to contact anybody. You don't even have to respond to anybody who contacts you. She said, think of it as window shopping. It'll get your head in a different place. So I thought about that, and I thought, okay, I can see that. That makes some sense to me. So, and being essentially a good girl who takes direction, I go home, and I fill out the profile, and I answer question after question after question. And it takes me all evening to do this. And then I spend an hour searching through pictures that I might have of me already on the computer to post. And then I'm thinking, well, even though I'm not really interested in going out with anybody, if you're going to do this, you take the whole process seriously and you pay for the full access to the site. So I hand over my $35 and I sign up for this. Now, what I didn't know at the time that I have since learned is that there's this whole weird life of an online dating, and there's codes and there's etiquettes, and I didn't know any of this. A couple of things that I've since learned, for example, is that if a guy is in his 40s and his online picture has a baseball cap, it means he's bald and really self-conscious about it. And just a hint for any guys out there, we know that. Second, if you expect someone to have a complete, grammatically correct English sentence on their profile, you have impossibly high standards. And third, as you notice from the lowering of the microphone, if you are under 5 feet tall like I am, you're going to hear from every guy who is 5'6" and under. Now, really, I don't have a problem with that. I actually kind of like short guys. I mean, it's very convenient. But it doesn't really make you feel special when you hear from these guys and they have absolutely nothing in common with you, and they're not even in the same time zone. But like I said, I didn't know any of this at the time. I was naive, and I was very, very earnest. So I go ahead and I fill out this profile, and I do all of this, and the next day, I have an email. And I think to myself, not so bad, huh? All right, you know, because I was really nervous about more rejection, and I have an email. So the email comes, and it's got the guy's little profile picture in the email, and, well, I have to admit, his picture was really schlubby. And then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, could you be any more shallow? Come on, this guy could just not take pictures well. He could be a prince among men. Please, you know. So I think, okay, I will go ahead and I will read his email. So I click through onto the site and I read his email. And his email reads to me in total, and I quote, "Hi, do you have any attractive girlfriends you can introduce me to? Thank you, Barry." Yeah, you see, and that look that that woman has on her face right there, that's the look that I had on my face. And I sit there with my mouth hanging open. And I think to myself, and for this I paid $35? And my second thought is, oh, my therapist is going to hear about this. And okay, and third, and I'm not necessarily proud of this, were all of the snarky remarks that came to my mind. And I will say that, perhaps this is reflective of the friends I have, pretty much every friend of mine who heard this story at the time was like, well, did you say, yes, I have many attractive friends and I'm not going to introduce you to any of them? You know, fill them. And I was like, yeah, no. I will say, however, that the college student in me from 20-something years ago that had taken some sociology classes, I was fascinated by this. I mean, like, there's part of me that just, like, divorced it from me. I wanted to know on what planet this was remotely acceptable social behavior. I mean, there had to be a story behind this, right? I mean, did he think this was some sort of, you know, Hepburn Tracy, cute, clever banter? Did he lose a bet? Had he been really hurt by some Jewish woman, and this was his way of getting back at all of us? I don't know. But in the end, I decided that any response I made to him was going to be 30 seconds of my life that I never got back. And once you're in your 40s, you start thinking about those seconds of your life that you're never getting back. So I just hit the delete button. And that was it. And that was my very first experience with online dating. But you know, it was actually kind of useful because I realized a couple of things. One of which was being rejected by a total stranger is nothing. It is completely nothing. He didn't know me. He wasn't rejecting me. And really, I wasn't rejecting him. Well, no, I'm sorry. I was rejecting him, actually. But I was so worried about doing this online dating because I was worried about rejection. And I was like, there's nothing. I can do this. I don't care if I get rejected, whatever. And, well, the other thing that I realized was I'm still looking several years later, though not so much online anymore. But however long it may take me to find that right person out there, I rest very comfortable in the fact that it will happen for me before it happens for Barry.